Today I'm going to show you how to melt a camera. So we're going to use this image of the camera. We're going to start with our magic wand tool. When you highlight the magic wand, I want you to notice that on the top toolbar it usually is default set at a tolerance of 32. When I click on the white space though at 32 tolerance, notice that it's eating into the top of my camera right here. I don't want that. So I'm going to drop it to 20. Try it again. Still eating into this knob right here. So I'm going to drop it to like 8. I'm going to try it one more time. Now I'm not losing that knob, but it's not grabbing all of the stuff down here, but that's okay. So I'm going to leave my tolerance at 8. I'm on my magic wand. I'm going to hit the delete key on my keyboard. Now I'm going to take my tolerance back up to 32 and come around here to my shadow. Click on that, hit the delete key. So it may take a few tries to get rid of all the pieces that you don't want, but that's okay. It's better to delete what you don't want than delete what you do want. Alright, so now I've gotten rid of all the extra white space, just using my magic wand and the delete key. Now I want to copy this layer. So the shortcut for that is Control J, like jump, Control J. Now I have a copy. I'm going to transform this copy and shrink it. So Control T to transform. I'm going to hold down the Shift key and move the top center square down, and then hit Enter to apply the transformation. Now, I want to liquefy this short camera and make it look like I have melted it. So I'm going to go Filter in the top toolbar and Liquefy. Now that this box has appeared, I want to make sure that I'm using the forward warp tool on the top. I want to make sure my brush size isn't too large. I can also zoom in or out from here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to melt my camera so it looks like it's oozing onto a table. Like maybe I have, set fire to this and it is just turning into a puddle on my table and just kind of oozing away. Now you can push out, you can pull in, you can tell it where to go just by clicking and dragging with your brush. When you're happy with how much you've melted it, you just hit the OK key down here. So now I have one melted camera, one solid camera. I'm going to take my eraser tool and I'm going to come up here to the top and make sure it's a decent size, that it's a soft round brush, and that my opacity is only around 20. Then I'm going to start to erase the top half of my camera so that I see the original camera through what I'm erasing. So I'm sort of fading this original camera out and I'm seeing through. So if I hide the bottom one, you can see that I got rid of most of the top and then just kind of faded away. So now what I want to do is I want to merge these two layers. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key, highlight both, go Control E like elephant. Now I have one layer. Now I'm going to come back to Filter and Liquefy again. Notice the word liquefy right here. Whenever you use a filter, the last filter you used, including the options that you selected, that will appear at the top of the filter list. So I don't want to stop on this version of Liquefy. I want to pull down to the original Liquefy so I can make new options. So I'm going to go Filter, second Liquefy. Now I see my merged camera here. So I'm going to leave the top half of my camera alone, and I'm going to start to pull down and merge those two melted layers together. While I'm doing this, I would just like to take the opportunity to point out that this is a tutorial I found online. I am not trying to steal anybody's thunder here. I am merely making an example for my students who are quarantined and unable to join us in the classroom so they can see how to complete these tasks from home. So I am not trying to steal credit from anyone. So you can see here, I've melted some of the top part of the camera, but for the most part, I've left all this alone. Like I could come in and like dent this a little bit if I want to, start to warp it there. You can get really OCD about it and really push these pieces where you want to. And then when you're happy with what it looks like, you just say okay. So now it looks like I have a camera that is just melting into my table. What I'm going to do now is take my top left move tool. I'm going to kind of offset it over here. And then I want to copy this layer. So I'm going to go Control J to copy. I'm going to click on the layer that's on the bottom. I'm going to go Control T to transform. And I'm going to right click and flip this vertical. I'm going to move it down here. And this is going to become a reflection for my melted camera image. So I'm going to hit Enter to apply the box. I'm going to take my eraser tool, make it big, still at a low opacity. I'm going to do one swipe across the entire camera picture on the bottom. Now it's starting to fade like a reflection. Now I'm going to click with my mouse and do it again, click and let go, do it again, and I'm just going to slowly fade this away until it looks like it's fading into nothing. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge these two layers, my reflection and my camera. So Shift, Control E like elephant. And now I'm going to copy this layer, Control J like jump, Control T to transform. And I'm going to shrink this guy and stick him over here in the back corner. Now, you'll notice I've got some extra down here that I need to delete. I'm going to bring my opacity up to 100% and just fade that away. Okay, so now I have two camera images. I have two reflections. What I need is a background, and I'm going to create my own background. So I'm going to come to my Layers panel, and on the bottom right, I'm going to click Add a New Layer. On my left-hand toolbar, top right tool, I'm going to get the rectangular marquee tool. And I'm going to click and drag with my mouse and make a selection right here near the back. This is going to be my horizon sky area. I'm going to come over here to my paint bucket. I'm going to click and hold, and I'm going to get the gradient tool. Now, I want to double click on my black fill here, and I'm going to get a yellowy gold color that kind of matches the inside of my camera lens. And then I'm going to double click on my white square. I'm going to go pick a dark blue. So now my colors are matching my camera. And with my gradient selected, you see those colors have appeared right here. I've got some different options I can pick. Like this one, if I click and drag, just gives me a straight gradient. This one, if I click and drag, gives me a circle. This one's going to give me a hard edge. This one's going to make it look all shaded. And this one's going to give me a diamond. Oops, I didn't pick it. There we go. This one's going to give me a diamond. So I'm going to start with the first one. I'm just going to click and drag right here, straight up the middle, and give myself a reflection or a simple gradient. Then from the top toolbar, I'm going to select the inverse, and I'm going to do it again. So now I have two different gradients. I can have them coming towards each other if I want to, or I can just repeat them like that. And then I'm going to go Control D to deselect. And this is just a simple background that I have made. So if I pull this underneath my two camera images, now you see my cameras, you see their reflections, and you see this really simple background behind it. All of a sudden it looks 3D. So the last thing I have to do is I want to flatten these so that I can share these with people. So I'm going to go Layer, Flatten Image. I'm going to go File, Save As. And I'm going to save it as a JPEG type because then I can send it to my friends and family and they can see this awesome melted camera that I just made. And that is it. Thank you for tuning in.